Ma'am, step back from the gate. You're trespassing, I barked, standing firm as Cheryl Adams, the self-appointed queen bee of the Clearwater Ridge HOA, hovered just inches from the entrance to our private ranch, shrieking into her phone. I'm calling 911. This is a violation of neighborhood rules. You're hiding something behind those gates, she snapped, wagging a manicured finger at me like I was a misbehaving toddler. I crossed my arms, doing my best not to laugh. You're not allowed on my property, Cheryl. This is private land. You know that. She didn't even flinch. I'm the president of this community. I have the authority to inspect any property I suspect is in violation. I almost burst out laughing. You think being president gives you police powers? She turned away, raising her voice for dramatic effect into her phone. Yes, operator. I'd like to report a suspicious man. He's being hostile. I feel unsafe. What Cheryl didn't know, what was about to flip this whole mess upside down, was that my wife, Natalie, wasn't just watching this unfold from the front porch behind me. She was a detective with over 12 years on the force. She'd already grabbed her badge and was striding toward us, calm as a summer breeze, but ready to strike. And when the distant wail of sirens pierced the ranch's quiet air, Cheryl didn't have a clue that she'd just called the cavalry on herself. But let me rewind a bit. My name's Ryan Cooper. I'm 42, a general contractor by trade. After decades building other people's dream homes in the crowded city, I bought myself 6 peaceful acres outside Fairhaven, a quiet corner of ranch country. A small herd of horses, a big red barn, a cozy farmhouse, my reward for years of noise and concrete. What I hadn't bargained for was a neighborhood HOA. The very first day we pulled in with our U-Haul, this perfectly put-together woman in designer flats and a steel-sharp bob haircut crossed my driveway like she owned it. She shoved a stack of glossy papers at me before I could even find my keys. You must be the new owner. I'm Cheryl Adams, the HOA president. You'll need to repaint that fence, trim those hedges, and remove that satellite dish, per page 3 of our code. I blinked at her. Hi, nice to meet you too. She handed me a 20-page booklet with an embossed cover. Clearwater Ridge Homeowners Association. This is your welcome packet. The board meets every second Tuesday. We'll be watching. At the time, I thought she was just an overzealous busybody. I didn't realize I'd just met the self-declared dictator of Clearwater Ridge. My wife Natalie wasn't around that first week. She'd been reassigned to a deep undercover task force and only came home weekends. We'd both dreamed of country, quiet after years in the city, especially after her last big bust left her with nightmares. This ranch was her sanctuary as much as mine. At first, we brushed off Cheryl's friendly reminders. I power washed the driveway. Natalie tidied up the shed. But Cheryl kept coming, uninvited, clipboard in hand, measuring tape dangling from her wrist like a sheriff's badge. She took photos of our gate, peeked into our barn, and once had the gall to tell me my work truck ruined the aesthetic harmony of the neighborhood. She's a control freak with a name tag, Natalie grumbled one night, sipping wine on the porch. If she crosses the line again, I'll file for a restraining order. I chuckled. You always jump straight to detective mode. Force of habit. I tried being nice once. Invited Cheryl over for lemonade. Big mistake. She refused the drink, took more notes, and told me my shed was too big by HOA standards. I should have slammed the gate then and there. Things escalated one Saturday morning. I was brushing down my favorite mare, Maggie, by the barn. Natalie was home for once, doing online training for a new case. I heard the crunch of tires on gravel and looked up. There was Cheryl again, this time with a skinny guy in a cheap polo shirt, nervously clutching a clipboard of his own. Can I help you? I asked, keeping my voice neutral. Cheryl crossed her arms like a prosecutor. Yes, this is Todd from the HOA Compliance Committee. We're doing a surprise inspection. I nearly choked on my own spit. There's no such thing. You don't have the right to inspect private land. It's part of our charter. No, Cheryl, it's not. You're about half a second from trespassing. Get off my property. That's when she whipped out her phone like it was a gun. I'm calling 911. He's threatening me. I'm scared for my life. I stood frozen. You had got to be kidding. But before I could say more, Natalie stepped out of the house, badge clipped to her lanyard, coffee in one hand, phone in the other, already recording. Natalie Cooper, city detective, badge 45219, she said calmly. You're on private property, Cheryl, and you just filed a false police report. Cheryl's smug grin faltered. And then, in the distance, sirens. Getting closer. Fast. When the patrol cars pulled in, the dust from the driveway wasn't even settled before the lead officer, a young guy named Officer Miller, who'd once trained with Natalie, stepped out. Detective Cooper, he looked stunned. Natalie held up her badge. Afternoon, Miller. Cheryl cut in, shrill and desperate. Arrest them. He threatened me. She's using her badge to intimidate me. This whole ranch is illegal. Officer Miller gave her the blandest look I've ever seen. Ma'am, are you Cheryl Adams? She puffed up. Yes, president of the Clearwater Ridge HOA. We have record of over 20 nuisance calls from you in the past 6 months, all unsubstantiated. She blinked. Excuse me, you've called in animal complaints, noise complaints, and fake reports about your neighbors. Each time, a false alarm. Cheryl's face went crimson. They're hiding something. He's got code violations. Miller turned to Natalie. Detective, you recorded her false 911 call. Natalie lifted her phone. Audio and video. And she brought an unauthorized inspector onto my property. The other officer, Officer Davis, leaned toward Todd. Sir, are you a city inspector? Todd stammered. And no, I'm just a handyman. She paid me $50 to measure the shed. Davis looked unimpressed. So no warrant, no city permit, and you're trespassing? Todd gulped. I didn't know. She threatened to report me to my union if I didn't help. Miller sighed. Ma'am, you're getting a trespassing citation today, and we'll be forwarding your false police report to the county prosecutor. Cheryl sputtered, her voice quivering. This is all blown out of proportion. I'm just doing my job. Natalie's eyes narrowed. No, you're not. And if I find out you've been on my land again without my consent, I'll have you arrested for stalking. And just then, like a final twist in a bad sitcom, Cheryl turned and bolted. She tore down my driveway, her flats kicking up dust. Davis caught her at the gate and cuffed her neatly. I thought that would be the end. A crazy HOA lady, exposed and humiliated, learning a hard lesson about messing with a cop's family. But I underestimated Cheryl Adams. That night, Natalie was in our kitchen, scanning our security feed. I was unwinding on the porch when an email pinged my phone. It was from the HOA board. Cheryl had filed more violation notices, some with time-stamped photos from angles no camera on the street could have taken. My blood went cold. I walked back inside. Nat, you need to see this. She studied the photos, her detective mind already racing. These were taken inside our barn, some from the side yard, places you'd need to climb a fence to reach. You're saying she's been inside our property more than once? Natalie's jaw set like concrete. I'm saying she's been spying on us. And that's not just petty harassment anymore. That's criminal. She didn't sleep that night. Instead, she called in favors, cross-checked neighbor complaints, combed our footage. By dawn, she had a list. Cheryl had files on at least 8 other families. Audio recordings, drone footage, handwritten notes on their kids' routines. Operation Clean Sweep, a plan to target, pressure, and force out anyone Cheryl and her secret backers didn't want here. Over the next 48 hours, Natalie and her old partner detective Lucas Grant, now with Internal Affairs, blew the lid off Clearwater Ridge. They connected Cheryl to Blake Norton, the HOA treasurer and a disgraced ex-realtor with a sealed fraud conviction. They found the shell company funding shady property takeovers, Everbright Holdings LLC. And behind that, the real mastermind, Gerald Vexler, a man who'd run 3 other HOAs into the ground, then vanished each time before the lawsuits hit. We knew where Vexler would be, a private HOA leaders summit at an exclusive golf resort out of town. Natalie went and wired. Lucas and I listened from a surveillance van parked down the road. Through the tiny hidden mic sewn into her blazer, we heard Vexler brag about restoring order, protecting property values, and helping communities cleanse themselves of undesirables. He said our names. He said our address. Natalie's voice didn't even tremble when she whispered the silent code. Green light. 30 seconds later, Lucas and a squad of undercover feds burst into the ballroom. Vexler's smile vanished as they read him his rights. Cheryl turned state's witness. She admitted to spying, trespassing, bribing contractors, and forging complaint letters. She got 3 years in prison. Blake fled, but was arrested crossing state lines a week later. He'll be serving at least 10. Vexler, 25 years without parole for conspiracy, intimidation, and racketeering. The media called it the biggest HOA scandal in state history. Today, the ranch is quiet again. No fake violation letters. No drones humming over the barn at 2 a.m. The HOA board was dissolved, replaced by a true neighborhood council, elected by actual residents who just want to raise horses, garden, and mind their business. One warm Sunday evening, Natalie and I sat on our porch, coffee mugs in hand, the sunset turning the sky honey gold. "You saved this place," I told her. She shook her head. "We did. But if anyone tries again," she smiled a wolf smile, "they'll learn fast. Never mess with a detective's home." And that, my friend, is how you end an HOA nightmare.